M3GAN 2.0 is dropped in theaters, so let's talk about it. Hi, my name is Sean, and I love to talk about movies and TV way too much. With that in mind, go ahead and join me down below in the comment section. Let me know, what did you think about M3GAN 2.0, and give me that point of reference. What did you think about the original M3GAN, and what was your excitement level going into this film in light of your feelings about the first film, as well as how they marketed the film? As for me, I was a big fan of the original M3GAN because I thought it had some surprisingly good sci-fi ideas inside of it. I didn't mind that it was kind of entry-level horror, PG-13. A lot of people were bothered by that. That sort of thing just never really bothered me because everybody needs an on-ramp, and so that wasn't an issue for me. But like the way that they kind of handled the idea of a girl losing her parents and a aunt taking over but being way in over her head, so she did what she knew how to do, which is develop a toy to help the child. I thought that was an interesting concept and kind of built into attachment theory, and all of that was just like a slightly smarter, deeper version of a killer doll movie for me. And so when they announced a sequel and they put out the trailer and it felt like it was veering off in a very different direction, I was more than a little bit confused, very curious, and that's what I went into this movie feeling like. I don't really know how I'm gonna feel about this film in light of the direction it seems like they're taking it. How did things turn out for me? Let's talk about the movie. And simply put, this is one of the most peculiar sequels that we've gotten in a long time. From the initial synopsis, the movie has been drawing comparisons to Terminator 2 for the basic concept of the killer robot from the first movie is now trying to protect the person that she was kind of putting in harm in the original film. And so obviously that calls to mind Terminator 2. But even more so, in the case of the original Terminator, it's kind of slasher adjacent, and the first M3GAN is kind of a slasher movie in sorts. And in both cases, the sequel is a radical genre shift towards being a much bigger, slicker action film. In the case of M3GAN 2.0, this is an action spy campy comedy with a surprisingly large amount of espionage inside of it, which, in light of what the original film was, rewatching M3GAN the night before I watched M3GAN 2.0, it is a jarring shift in tone and style. Like, if you've only watched the M3GAN TikToks, the dance, and remember kind of the sassy quips and stuff like that, it might not strike you just how jarring this shift is. But if you rewatch the original M3GAN, which is about a little girl whose parents died and she forms an unhealthy attachment to a toy, and then you watch M3GAN 2.0 and it is this wild, wacky spy movie, it is such a strange genre shift for a franchise that initially was the new Killer Doll franchise. We're comparing it to Chucky, and it's like they're like, we don't want to be compared to Chucky, let's do something so wildly different. Other people have compared it to like Austin Powers. That's the degree to which this is a different beast than the original film. And I even sat on the movie for a day because I wanted some time to process it, because there's the initial shock of, wow, this is so different. And then you can go, okay, did I enjoy it? Does it make sense? Does it work? All of the different feelings, you process through it a little bit. Some movies you just immediately know how you feel about it, what you think about it. But when you have something like this that is such a shift, it takes longer to process and decide, did I just not like it because it was too different? Did I like it now that I've thought about it and I'm used to it? I had to think through all of that before I wanted to shoot my full review for the movie. And at the end of the day, does it have a lot of elements that I enjoyed? Yes, I like action movies. I like martial arts. There's a lot of references to Steven Seagal in here. Do I like killer robots, spy, espionage, things like that? Do I enjoy those things? Yes, I do. And so there's a lot in here that I can just watch it and have a good time with it. Do I think that it was a great direction to go? Do I think that they picked the right pivot? Not really. I think we lost too much of what I enjoyed in the first film in order to do a bunch of stuff that's superficially entertaining. The reasons that I liked the original M3GAN, I think, are more deeper and smarter than the things I enjoyed about the second film. Back to what I mentioned earlier, the first film is actually like quite dark because it's about a girl's parents dying and an aunt doing the best she can when she's totally unequipped to be a new mom on any level whatsoever, while she's in kind of a state and she tries to, like, you know, double dip and develop a toy to make her boss happy that also fix her niece. And like even little references to attachment theory and the way that kids can get too addicted to technology and our parents shifting their responsibility to technology to keep them entertained and things like that. Those are real questions. And so it makes for a good sci-fi concept. Like there's actual sci-fi ideas being explored inside of a movie that has a sassy killer doll that goes, "It's insane," and does TikTok dances. It's more than just TikTok dances. That's why I liked it. The second one goes entirely in the direction of, can we have a new dance? Like let's do this whole, like, I don't know if it's K-pop or whatever, but let's do this whole like robot themed dance number in the movie where the robot's actually doing the robot. And all the stuff that's supposed to be memeable, quotable, like there's more sass. It's all of the superficial stuff that worked for the marketing of the first movie. It's more of that. Other comparison I've kind of thought in my mind, it's the same way that the Fast and the Furious franchise went from, let's do Point Break with cars instead of surfing, and to cars driving in space, and let's do a Tarzan swing with a car. Like completely cornball, wacky, insane stuff. That's what they did with M3GAN. There was elements that were silly and campy in the original M3GAN, but generally speaking, there's a real sci-fi concept that feels just ahead of where we're at. And the second movie is just entirely insane, bonkers, campy stuff. Can it be entertaining? Yes, it can. Did it put a smile on my face? Quite a bit. Yes, it did. Did it leave me ultimately like, I felt like we lost too much here. We lost all the smarts in order to do this other stuff. Yes, it did. And the whole movie, I was kind of going back and forth on kind of where I was landing on it. And I think some of the final twists in the last 15 minutes of it, when you kind of really discover what's going on, how things kind of play out, it just felt too convoluted, too silly. And you're like, wait a minute, what is this movie saying about AI? What is this movie saying? Like any sort of, not that I go to a M3GAN movie for a message. Like I'm not going to I want to learn a lot about parenting from this M3GAN movie. But like the first movie did have some interesting observations in it. Simple, straightforward, but they're there. In this movie, when you play out the final all the twists and turns and revelations of who's doing what and why they're doing it, when it all plays out, like, where are we going with what he's suggesting with everything kind of going on here? And so it's just like a very odd experience watching it because it's such an extreme pivot from the original movie, and I think it lost too much. And instead of trying to come up with another smart concept, they just came up with a bigger concept and a more viral one that you can make viral clips out of it concept, and with all these wacky moments inside of it. And it feels like you're dumbing down the franchise. That's not the direction I would have gone. When I was watching it, the movie ended and the theater people walked in and they were, walking the halls, cleaning. And one of the employees goes, "So is it better than the first movie?" And I didn't have an in-depth conversation. My impression was that he was really disappointed the first movie wasn't all-out R-rated horror. Like, he was disappointed by that. He's like, "Was it better than the first one?" I was like, not really. He goes, the first one, I just wanted more horror. I was like, well, this one will not give you more horror. Like, it is a hard pivot away from horror. And it seems like a movie where you left the first M3GAN that was a surprise hit, got much better reviews than people were expected, and M3GAN, people latched onto her. And there was kind of two directions they could have gone. They could have gone further horror, or further towards TikTok dances. And they went TikTok dances. They went for that side of it. And I think they're lose a big chunk. They have, if you can look at the opening day numbers, are like a third of what the first movie did. And I think the horror fans were like, it's not for me anymore. And so it stopped even being entry-level horror and became kind of this other thing. And I don't know who that audience really is. Not that if someone says they enjoyed this movie, I fully understand. Because it's high energy, there's plenty of sass, there's some jokes that work. I guess even if you're appealing to old men like me, there's Steven Seagal references that put a big grin on my face. Like, of all the things you could do with Aikido, thank you for making it Steven Seagal. But the movie overall, it is all over the place. It's clunky. It's bizarre what it does with everything. And that's just, I don't think it was the right direction to go. And I think it lost any smarts that it once had in order for viral clips. Overall, it's a C+ on the entertainment scale, 7 out of 10. I enjoyed it more than I thought it was good, but you can wait to stream this one. No reason to rush out to watch it. I'm sure a lot of people will enjoy this one more than the first one because it does pick a side and it goes full-blown fun, blockbuster action movie. For me, I liked that entry-level balance that they had in the first one, that it had the comedy and the sass, but it also was a little bit of a slasher. It was a little bit of a sci-fi film. I think it was balanced really well in the first film, and this movie, I didn't want it to lean so hard in one direction, and that's what it did. Let me know your thoughts down below, and keep talking movies and TV too much. Bye-bye.